Stop using church intimidation, control and manipulation. Jezebel and all them spirits, fall back, not trying to hear it. Go with Jesus, walk in peace. On your pew can sit that beast that we're fighting in the world. I'm that JC Supergirl, Jesus Christ, belt of truth, arm of God, I'm slaying you. Power of the word, two-edged sword, MC Heaven rocks for her Lord. Thought they crept in unaware, didn't see the gatekeeper standing right there, not getting down with your tactics, undoctrinal practice.
Hey everybody, God bless you. Welcome again to the Crystal Jones Show, the show that is all about life's balance. I'm your talk show host, Crystal Jones. Always glad to see you come back and join us for another episode. So much is going on. We're glad that, here we're making it through some, pretty interesting times, I'll say, in this country and the world at large. There's so much going on with just so many different things. This week, we're seeing what happened over there at the White House, at the Capitol. And it's so ridiculous, y'all. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. It just is. It's ridiculous. And I haven't really said a lot about it, but the state of affairs is sad. It really is sad. And it's really, really disgusting when you think about the fact that, we're dealing with this type of leadership. It's just crazy. So we're, hoping and praying that you all are staying away from this nonsense, because that's really what it is. It's just a bunch of nonsense. And after what happened the other day at the Capitol, our country is like, the nations are laughing at us. They're laughing at us. And you know what? I'm going to tell you what it reminds me of. And I want you to go with me in this scripture. To me, it describes America. It really does. It's Revelation, the 18th chapter. And it says, and after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon, the great, is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean, hateful bird. That's what this reminds me of. It's just a lot of just crazy hatred going on for the stupidest reasons. You don't like people because of their skin color. You don't like people because they came from this place of that stupidness. Just really, really a bunch of foolishness. And it seemed like it's come to a summation now. It's like the beginning of this country, and you've heard me say it different times, is that it started off pretty wrong. It really, really did. Even though they try to make it sound like, oh, wow, yeah, they came over here from Europe to the new land, and they made friends with the Indians and stuff. And that's a bunch of garbage. It's not. And that's the problem, is no one is facing the issue that really started out in this country from its inception of, first of all, lying, saying you discovered a country that was already here. Okay. The things you did to the people that lived here. All right. And then the other things that went on after that, the slavery, the all kind of stuff has never really fully been acknowledged and dealt with. I'll say maybe it's been acknowledged to some degree, but not really, but it's never been really dealt with. So the mindset of the people who feel that they can do these type of things, it's about supremacy, and you cannot run a nation through supremacy. You can't do it, because you need everybody in that nation to prosper. You need everybody in that nation to be doing well. And this country has played up to, that they're the best country in the world, and Everybody is just, everything is just wonderful. And you have so much opportunity here. And yes, you do have different opportunities here. But let's deal with the racism. It's really, really just out of hand. And for no real apparent reason. It's just foolishness. And I'm talking about race. I'm not just saying one group of people, just racism, period. It's just stupid. It's foolishness. Stop it. You know, and I mean, what went on, you know, at the nation's capital shows you that what people have been complaining about for decades is true. You know, these people were allowed to come into, um, you know, the Capitol and do what they wanted to do. I mean, the things that you saw there, the feces, the urine, all that kind of crazy stuff that they did at the nation's capital. Now this country is the laughing stock of the world. And you knew it was eventually going to come to that, because you can't run a nation on lies. You can't run a nation successfully on stealing from the people, where the working class people are looked down upon. But we're the ones that pay the bills here. We're the ones that, pay the taxes and stuff like that. While the people who call themselves above us are the ones that are profiting from the things that we do. And it's always been that way. It's always been that way, that the people that they kick are the ones that cause the people, that are the reason why the people who make it, so big, is because they profit off of the people that are doing the work. The Indians, they profited off of the things that they did when they first came here, but they realized they couldn't, enslave them too much. So then they went to enslaving blacks from Africa. All right. So then that, became a hot mess, because as much as they lied and said our people came over here and that we came over as indentured servants, that's a bunch of garbage. No, a lot of our people died in the ocean, in the Atlantic Ocean, because they were like, I'd rather die than go over there and be a slave. We lost millions of people in the Atlantic Ocean, okay? And then our people that did make it over here, the boats and things that we were on, all on top of each other and all kind of nonsense, then getting here and being beaten, all, just crazy stuff that our people went through. And people wonder why our people struggle with different things, because that generational thing has not really worn off. And to come here, to have built this country, because we were free labor, all right? And Benjamin Banneker, he was hired by George Washington, a black man, to design Washington, D.C., the Capitol and all of that, okay? The White House, who built that, right? Our people. So to come here and to continually be oppressed and told, well, we did you a favor, you're doing better here than you would in Africa, is a bold-faced lie. It's a lie. And it's time for the lies to stop. And this is why this country is going through things, because you can't think that you're going to continue through that and that judgment is never going to come upon you, because it's here. It is really here. And I mean, it's sad, because I'm not saying it's everybody that has that supremacy attitude, because they don't. I've even told you, I believe, on the show that, the white people that I've dealt with, I haven't had that type of problem with them. So I know it's not all of them. I know that they all don't think like that. Just, you have good and bad in every group of people. Supremacy is a bad thing, whether it's black supremacy, whether it's white supremacy, whatever supremacy is wrong. Okay. And this nation is let it bring it down to the ground. Babylon is fallen. Babylon is a spirit. That's that spirit that was over there in with the Israelites. They were following the people, the Babylonian people that were worshiping idols and things like that, as I've told you. And the Lord brought Abraham out of that. Abraham was a Chaldean, and he was brought from out of that. The Lord told him to separate himself from those people because of the different practices and crazy things that they were doing. And that's how we came out. We came through the Lord separating Abraham and making the Hebrew nation of people, the Israelites. So that's been going on for a long time, that Babylonian spirit. So as it says here in Revelation, Babylon the Great has fallen. That spirit of Babylon, that spirit of, greed and all the stuff that's going on in this country, which our country has the nerve to point fingers at other countries. The human trafficking, it's off the chain here. Every time I turn around, I'm being sent things and shown things of young people that are disappearing off the streets. They're being humanly trafficked, y'all. Let's just be real, okay? And because on the Richter scale, as far as your organs and things like that, people of color, our organs and things like that are stronger. So this is why, they would rather, people want to, kidnap our kids and our people and sell the body parts and things like that. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And I know God is just not happy with it at all. So it's a sad, it's really, really a sad state of affairs. But what went down really showed that how supremacy is very, very alive. Because going well, if it were people of color that have gone up there, they'd have shot us dead. We'd have been shot dead right away. That we'd have never got inside that Capitol building. None of that would have happened. And yes, as a pastor, I am disgusted. I am disgusted at how this nation carries itself and pretends to be this wonderful, pristine country that it's not. It's a shame. And those of you who aren't on that elite level, as many of us aren't, thank God. Thank God you're not at that level dealing with that craziness, because what the people who are involved in that don't realize is that we need one another. We do. And you have drunk the Kool-Aid to, to go against, to really, really rev things up, when what we need to be doing is joining together to make the nation better. But as it is prophesied, this place is probably, I don't know, it's really not looking good for this country. It's not. And it's sad. It's a sad state of affairs. But I wanted to also share with you that, and you look at different Bible prophecies that, tell you these different things, that if you hearken to lies and stuff like that, if you, like in Proverbs, the 29th chapter, it tells you, Proverbs 29:12, it tells you, if a ruler hearkens to lies, all his servants are wicked. So if you're trying to go against, one group of people, but you're all here as one nation together, and you're hearkening to these lies that you're telling and the people are telling, and they're going against each other and stuff like that, all your people, all your followers are going to be wicked. And it showed it with what they did at the nation's capital. It showed the wickedness in this country, because those who are leading are hearkening to lies. They're not listening to truth. They're not trying to do better. They're in it for themselves. Everybody, they're being greedy. It's ridiculous. We have all these people here that are out of jobs, people that are hungry out on the street and whatnot, and they couldn't even come together for a stimulus check. They couldn't even get that together. I mean, it took months. And meanwhile, people being put out on the street and all of that kind of stuff. It's because this nation is hearkening to a bunch of lies and garbage. And it's so, so sad. It really is. So I wanted to come in, before I go into the lesson, I wanted to let you know how I feel. I feel it's sad. I really, really feel it's sad. It's a sad state of affairs of what's going on. It's not necessary. This nation, if this nation would just turn from that stuff, and we're supposed to be a Christian nation. But even that, they turned that into something bad from the inception of this country. Again, they wanted Christianity. They turned it so that, those who were enslaved would believe that that's what we were supposed to be, as slaves and no good people. And we just supposed to only work for white people and, stuff like that. I mean, come on. How long did you think this was going to go on? God was giving you a chance. He was saying, yeah, his hand is stretched out still. But at some point, you're going to pay for those things. So this nation is under judgment. That's what I'm telling you. This nation is under judgment. So those of you who are not involved, don't get involved. People of color, this is not our fight. It's really not. Don't get involved with the nonsense. Don't do it. Let them hash that craziness out. Stay away from it. Continue to pray, fast, seek the Lord. Stay away from their nonsense, because that's all it is. It's nonsense. And it's meant to trigger people so that, of course, you jump in and you start marching and doing crazy stuff and whatnot. And then next, you're in jail and all of this kind of stuff for nonsense. It's meant to provoke our emotions. So don't get involved in it at all. That being said, we're thankful that still, while we're making it through with the pandemic and stuff like that, even that situation, it sounds crazy. They're starting to say they want to mix things, with the shot and all that kind of stuff. Make sure you look into this, whether or not you should be, what you should be doing, because it's not sounding good. It's not. It's just sounding like they're just reaching up and grabbing, like, yeah, and in the midst of this, people are just trying to make money off of this too. So be aware of that. Don't put nothing in your body you don't have to. People going to be lying and say, this is the shot. This is the shot. Yeah, just come over here and just get the shot. And it'll probably be water and sugar. Don't be fooled, y'all. That was the one thing Jesus Christ said when they said, Lord, what shall be the end of the times and what shall the sign of your coming be? He said, be not deceived. That was the first thing Christ told his followers. Don't be deceived. Many going to come in his name saying that they this, they that, they're Christ, this is of Christ and all. Don't believe the hype. So be aware. Be aware of what's going on. Don't let nobody push nothing on you, because every day I'm hearing this crazy stuff about, oh yeah, well, to make the shots last, we're gonna mix it with this, and the shots are only supposed to be out of the freezer for 1 hour, and nobody knows what nobody's doing. No, you're not gonna be. Stop it. Bunch of nonsense. Okay, so I'm saying, be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. Know what the will of the Lord is. Stop. Don't follow these people. I'm telling you, they're really tripping out, and you're seeing this with what went down right there in DC. All right. So today, what we're going to do, we're going to continue with the Levitical Priesthood, part 5, and we are going to go to the last plagues, and that is in Exodus, the 10th chapter, and we're going to be about the 20th verse. And so we see here, we went through all the other plagues, the frogs, the lice, and all of that, because Pharaoh did not want to listen to the Lord. And the Lord has sent Moses and Aaron to tell the children of Israel that he was going to get them out of this Egyptian bondage, that he had heard their cry, he had heard their plea, and he was coming to deliver them. He said, but he told them, he said, Pharaoh's not going to listen to me. And I'm going to show him the great wonders and signs, but he's hard. He's hard-hearted. He's not going to listen. So as you saw in the past weeks, Moses and Aaron, they went. Pharaoh, said, okay, I'm gonna let y'all go. And then he changed his mind, and the Lord would send the different plagues and that type of thing. So now we see here we're winding down to the last two, which is the plague of darkness, and finally the plague of death of the firstborn. Now it says, but the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart so that he would not let the children of Israel go. Now here we go. This man is stubborn. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand toward heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which must be felt. Wow. There are some areas, if you go sometime down south, where it's so dark at night, because they don't really have street lights in some areas there in the country, where you could just feel the darkness. Well, this is what that darkness was like, probably even worse. And Moses stretched forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. 3 days. That means there was no sunlight, no skylight, no E equals MC, nothing. There was nothing but darkness for 3 days. Can you imagine if we were here? We're in New York, but can you imagine right here in New York, even, or America, if we, dealt with darkness for just 3 days and it was so thick? So they saw not one another. They couldn't even see one another. Neither rose any from his place for 3 days. So they couldn't go outside. They couldn't do anything for 3 days. But all the children of Israel had light in their dwelling. So these were the Egyptians that were suffering from the darkness. That's why I'm telling you, separate yourself from these people and their craziness right now, because the way this nation is going, we don't know what's going to happen next. But those who are doing the craziness, they're going to suffer for it. You hold to the ways of the Lord and you will make your escape. All right. Now, so you see, the children of Israel, they had light in their dwellings. Why? Because they followed the voice of the Lord. They followed Moses and Aaron. They follow who God sent to deliver them. And Pharaoh called out to Moses and said, go ye and serve the Lord. Only let your flocks and your herds be stayed. In other words, you go and serve the Lord in the wilderness, but leave all your livestock and all of that. Let your little ones go with you also. Take your kids. And Moses said, you must give us also sacrifices and burnt offerings that we may sacrifice unto the Lord. So we need our livestock. Like, don't, Pharaoh, don't be trying to play us. No, we getting out of here. All right. Our cattle also shall go with us. There shall not a hoof, not a horse hoof, be left behind. For thereof must we take to serve the Lord our God. And we know not with what we must serve the Lord until we come thither. So we don't know if we're going to do it. At that time they, when they had their sacrifices and stuff like that, they had goats and rams and things like that. So he said, we don't know what we're going to use until we come there. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let them go. Pharaoh said unto them, get away from me. Take heed to thyself. See, and don't even come back here no more. For in the day that you see my face, you'll die. So in other words, Pharaoh's really getting cocky now. He's like, don't even come back here no more. If I see you again, we're going to kill you. And Moses said, thou hast spoken well. I will see your face again no more. So now we're going over to Exodus, the 11th chapter. And the Lord said to Moses, you will bring one more plague, and I'm going to turn him out. Just one more plague upon Pharaoh and upon Egypt. So the Egyptian people that follow Pharaoh, they suffer because of his foolishness too. Afterwards, he will let you go hence. When he shall let you go, he shall surely thrust you out hence altogether. He'll be like, get out of here. Speak now in the ears of the people, and let every man borrow of his neighbor and every woman of her neighbor jewels of silver, jewels of gold. And the Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. So they had on jewelry and all of that kind of stuff. Moreover, the man Moses was very great in the land of Egypt in the sight of Pharaoh's servants and in the sight of the people. Because remember, Moses was brought up with the Egyptians because they were trying to kill all the firstborn of the Israelites. But Moses' family, put him in a little basket down the river, and Pharaoh's daughter saw him and she had compassion on him. So she allowed his mother to raise him up, to wean him and all of that. But he was brought up under the tutelage of the Egyptians. So he was, educated and all of that in the Egyptian ways, but he knew that he was Hebrew. His mother showed him the Hebrew Israelite way. So he was great in the land of Egypt. Moses said, "Thus saith the Lord, about midnight will I go out into the midst of Egypt, and all the firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die." So the Lord said, I'm going to I'm going to get Pharaoh. I'm going to take the firstborn of their children. And when God starts taking people's kids, whoa, to the point where they can't blame nobody. They know it's God. So he said, the firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sitteth on the throne, even unto the firstborn of the maidservant that is behind the mill, and all the firstborn of the beast. Not just Pharaoh and his people and the servants, but the firstborn of their cattle. God was mad. And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Egypt, such as there was none like it, nor shall it ever be any more. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast, that ye may know how that the Lord doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel. So though we looked like them, because, Egyptians, dark skin, blacks, the Hebrew Israelites, dark skin, but there was a difference between us. They were Egyptians and we were Hebrew Israelites, although, because Africa is the land of the blacks. So we may look like a lot of people there. Some people may say I look like some of the people from the Fulani tribe or whatever different tribes and things like that. But my people are Hebrew Israelites. So he said there's a difference between the Egyptians and Israel. God was separating the people. Not that we were better than them, but because we believed in the Lord and served him and did what he said, he brought us out of the Egyptian bondage. That's what brought us out, was obedience to the Lord our God. So he says, and all these thy servants shall come down unto me and bow down themselves unto me, saying, Get thee out, and all the people that follow thee, and after that I will go out. And he went out from Pharaoh in great anger. And the Lord said unto Moses, Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that my wonders may be multiplied in the land of Egypt. And Moses and Aaron did all these wonders before Pharaoh, and the Lord he hardened Pharaoh's heart, so that he would not let the children of Israel go out of his land. So the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. That's why our new year is different. Our new year is in the spring, as opposed to the Gregorian calendar, which their new year is in January, which is in the winter, which kind of doesn't make sense, because wouldn't the beginning of the year be in the spring when things are springing forth, right? So that's the calendar that we follow. It's the Hebrew calendar. All right. So speak unto the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month, they shall take to them every man a lamb according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. And if the household be too little for the land, let him that is the neighbor next to his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your count for the lamb. So this would be the feast of Passover. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year, from the sheep or from the goats. You shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel will kill it in the evening. They shall take the blood and strike it on the two side posts. So they would take the blood of the lamb or the sheep, and of the lamb or the goat, and put it on the two side posts and the upper post of the door of the houses, wherein they shall eat it. They shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs shall they eat it. They would not eat it raw or sodden at all with water, but roast it with fire, the heads and the legs. Okay, and they shall let nothing of it remain till the morning, and that which remaineth till the morning they will burn with fire, and they will eat it with their loins girded. So they would. This was their last meal, their Passover supper, the Last Supper. They were to be dressed, ready to go, with their shoes on their feet and their staff in their hands. Okay, and they will eat. You will eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover. For I will pass through the land of Egypt. This is why it's called Passover. Okay, this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt, those fake gods, those false gods. The Lord was going to, he said he was going to smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt. I will execute judgment. I am the Lord. And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague will not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt. Because remember, our people were in Goshen basically because when Joseph was the prime minister of Egypt, okay, he was a Hebrew. So remember, we had to be in the land of Goshen because to be a shepherd was an abomination to the Egyptians. Can you imagine being a shepherd? Anyway, okay, so the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses. When I'll see the blood, I'll pass over you. All right, and he's going to destroy the land of Egypt. And this day shall be unto you for a memorial. You shall keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generations. So we're supposed to continue celebrating the feast of Passover, right? You shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. 7 days shall you eat unleavened bread. Even the first day you shall put away leaven out of your houses. Okay. In the first day there shall be a holy convocation. In the seventh day it'll be a holy convocation unto you. No manner of work will be done, save that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you. You shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in this selfsame day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall ye observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever. So the first month of the 14th day of the month at even, you shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month at even. 7 days there'll be no leaven found in your house. For whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel. Okay, so at another time I'll explain to you about leaven. Leaven is that thing basically that you put so that the bread rises. So you were to eat unleavened bread. All right, and that also, the Passover and the unleavened bread also has something to do with Christ when he would die. When he had that Last Supper, the Passover, which, it was in commemoration of the Passover, and the unleavened bread represented his body. Okay, that's also, I don't want to give you too much at one time. Then Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said unto them, draw out and take you a lamb according to your families. He told them to take a bunch of hyssop, dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel on the two sides of the post with the blood that is in the basin. And none of you shall go out of the door of your house until the morning, because the Lord is going to pass through to smite the Egyptians. And when he sees the blood of the lintel, he's going to pass over you. You will observe this ordinance forever. All right. So now, it came to pass that at midnight, the Lord smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt. He was good for his promise. He wasn't playing with them, right? And there was a great cry in Egypt, for there was not a house where there was not one dead. So they were seeing all of their kids were dying. The firstborn of their children anyway was dying, and the firstborn of their cattle. And he called Moses and Aaron by night, that's Pharaoh, and said, rise up and get you forth from among my people, both you and your children of Israel, and go serve the Lord as you said. Also take your flocks and your herds, as you said, and be gone. And he had the nerve to say, and bless me also. Woo! I tell you, woo, people be. And the Egyptians were urgent upon the people that they might send them out of the land in haste. For they said, we be all dead men. Like, if you don't get them people out of here, God gonna kill all of us. Wouldn't that give them some kind of incentive to repent, ask God for forgiveness, and say, Lord, have mercy on us? I don't understand. And the people took their dough before it was leavened, their kneading troughs being bound up in their clothes upon their shoulders. And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses. And they, took their jewelries, the silver that were given to them. And the Lord gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so they lent unto them such thing as they required. Okay. And the children of Israel journeyed from Ramses to Succoth. All right. And a mixed multitude went up also with them, and flocks and herds, even very much cattle. So a mixed multitude, meaning even some of the Egyptians started realizing, you know what? This foolishness that we doing here in this land is not good. They're serving these idol gods. We out. We going with the children of Israel. So some of them were joined unto us as well, right? So they baked unleavened cakes and the dough and all of that. So now the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years. That was the timing that we dwelt in Egypt, from the time of Joseph till the time that we had left. And it came to pass at the end of the 430 years, even the selfsame day, it came to pass that all the hosts of the Lord went out from the land of Egypt. It is a night to be much observed unto the Lord for bringing them out from the land of Egypt. And we will leave here too one day. This is that night of the Lord to be observed of all the children of Israel and their generations. And the Lord said unto Moses and Aaron, this is the ordinance of the Passover. There shall no stranger eat thereof, but every man's servant that is bought for money, when thou hast circumcised him, then shall he eat thereof. A foreigner and a hired servant shall not eat thereof. In one house shall it be eaten. You will not carry forth aught of the flesh abroad out of the house, neither shall you break a bone thereof. All the congregation of Israel shall keep it. All right. So now one law shall be to him that is homeborn, and unto the stranger that sojourneth with you. So, the children of Israel, they had maid servants and all of that kind of stuff, as they went different places too. So, but they were to treat those people as one. They were to treat them right. They weren't to be beating them and calling them the N-word and doing all kind of crazy stuff. All right. Thus did all the children of Israel as the Lord commanded Moses and Aaron, so did they. And it came to pass the selfsame day that the Lord did bring the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt by their what? Armies. And the Lord spake to Moses, saying, sanctify unto me all the firstborn, whatsoever openeth the womb among the children of Israel, both of man and of beast, it is mine. So this is why you have, when we have the boys circumcised, the children of the Israelites, the children of Israel, we have our children circumcised. Okay, because whatsoever, like the Lord said, openeth the womb among the children of Israel, both of man and beast, is the Lord. We're presenting that child to the Lord, because the Lord brought us out by taking away the firstborn of the Egyptians. So we give our male children back to the Lord. So this is the thing where they're circumcised. Circumcision is a sign of a covenant between us and the Lord. Okay, so Moses said to the people, remember this day in which you came out from Egypt, out of the house of bondage. For by strength of hand, the Lord, not the Republican Party, not the Democrats, not the president, for by strength of hand of the Lord brought you out from this place, there shall no leavened bread be eaten. This day you came out in the month of Abib, which would be, I believe, March or April. And it shall be when the Lord shall bring thee into the land of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, Hivites, the Jebusites, which he sware unto thy fathers to give thee, a land flowing with milk and honey, that you will keep this service in this month. All right. So he's explaining to them again, and that this is what they're supposed to always do. And it shall be for a sign unto thee upon thine hand, and for a memorial between thine eyes, that the Lord's law may be in your mouth. For with a strong hand, again, that hand, hath the Lord brought thee out of Egypt. You will therefore keep this ordinance in his season from year to year. It shall be, when the Lord shall bring thee into the land of the Canaanites, as he sware unto thee and to thy fathers, and shall give it to thee, that you will set apart unto the Lord all that open the matrix. Okay. And every firstling that cometh of a beast which thou hast, the male, shall be the Lord's. All right. So he's explaining to him how the firstborn is very important, that firstborn is given to the Lord, the male children, the circumcision. Okay, it's again, it's a token. He's just reiterating what the Lord had told him. But God led the people about through the way of the wilderness of the Red Sea, and the children of Israel went up harnessed out of the land of Israel. So Moses took the bones of Joseph with him, because back in those days, when your people left the land where they were in, you were to take their bones so that it would be in the land of promise where you were going, so that your ancestors, their bones would dwell there. That's why Israelites really don't believe in cremation. We don't really believe in that, because it's your body. God gave it to you. So they wanted to bring the bones to wherever they went. For he has straitly sworn to the children of Israel, saying, God will surely visit you, and you will carry up my bones away hence with you. That's what Joseph had told them. And they took their journey from Succoth, and they encamped in Etham. Okay. Now the Lord went forth by them by day in a pillar of a cloud. So they used to see a pillar of a cloud by day to lead the way. Can you imagine you being led by the Lord with a pillar of a cloud that's in front of you, and by night a pillar of fire to lead you? So God is leading you by day and night. In the day with the cloud, at night with the pillar of fire. He took not away the pillar of the cloud by day, nor the pillar of fire by night from where before the people. Okay. They went and they, encamped in different places, because again, it says here in Exodus 14, I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and he shall follow after them, and I will be honored upon Pharaoh and upon his host, that the Egyptians may know that I'm the Lord. And they did so. And it was told the king of Egypt that the people fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and his servants was turned against the people. And they said, why have we done this, that we have let Israel go from serving us? Now, if you notice, sometimes some of these leaders here say, well, let the black people go on back to Africa then. Really? We built this country. So if we go back, what will you do? How will you make it as far as your taxes and all of that? Because as much as we're called lazy and all of that kind of stuff, most of us work. Even if we're paid low, horrible wages, most of our people do work. So they make it seem as if all of our people are on welfare, but they don't tell you the majority of people that are on welfare are not black people. So I wonder how these people who talk all this nonsense really think that this country would make it without our people being here. And I wonder too, if we leave, can we take everything that we invented? Because I have a whole list of things like the internet, all of that kind of stuff. I really want to know, how would this country make it? But it was told the king of Egypt that the people fled, and so they said, why have we let them go from serving us? And he made ready his chariot and took his people with him. He took 600 chosen chariots. 600. If he was really that big and bad, he needed 600 chariots. And all the chariots of Egypt, and the captains over every one of them. And the Lord continued to harden his heart. And they pursued after the children of Israel. And the children of Israel went out with a high hand. But the Egyptians pursued after them, all the horses and chariots of Pharaoh, and his horsemen and his armies, and overtook them encamping by the sea, by Pahirath, before Baalzephon. And when Pharaoh drew nigh, the children of Israel lifted up their eyes, and behold, the Egyptians marched after them, and they were afraid. And the children of Israel cried out unto the Lord, and they said unto Moses, because there were no graves in Egypt, have you brought us out here to die in the wilderness? And Moses said to the people, fear not, stand still and see the salvation that the Lord will show you today. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever. The Lord shall fight for you, and you will hold your peace. See, that's what I'm telling y'all. Hold your peace on a lot of this mess. Let God fight for you. Don't. You're going to see them coming. Yeah, they're going to do things to you, all kind of crazy things. But you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying don't defend yourself. They come after you, yeah. If you read in this Bible, in the apocryphal books, Judah, all of the 12 tribes, they was throwing down at some points, especially that one where the outside nations had done things to Dinah, who was one of Jacob's daughters, and her brothers went to fight for her. I think it was Dinah, and Judah and them, they was kicking butt. All right, so I'm not telling you don't defend yourself, but I'm saying don't get revved up in all of this chaotic mess. And Moses said to the people, fear not, stand still, see the salvation of the Lord, which he will show to you today. For the Egyptians whom you see today, you ain't going to see them no more forever. The Lord shall fight for you, and you will hold your peace. There's some battles that God is going to tell you, just don't even say nothing. Just watch. And the Lord said to Moses, why are you crying unto me? Speak unto the children of Israel that they go forward. Lift up your rod and stretch out your hand over the sea and divide it. Remember, the Lord told him that from the beginning, that rod that he gave him, he said, stretch it out every time. And the children of Israel shall go on dry ground through the midst of the sea. And he said he will harden the hearts of the Egyptian. They will follow them, and the Lord will get him on Pharaoh. How? They're going to drown being stupid, following people that you see that God is protecting. So the angel of the Lord, which went before the camp of Israel, removed and went behind them. And the pillar of the cloud went from before their face and stood behind them. See, God made that divider between them. Just when people think they got you, God will put that divider there. He'll let them be foolish enough to think, oh, she's stupid or he's stupid. They don't realize that we're going to get them. God is setting them up. And it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel. And it was a cloud and darkness to the Egyptians, but it gave light to the Israelites, so that the one came not near to the other all night. Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon dry ground. Now there's a prophecy that says when we return again, the same thing's going to happen, but he's going to split it 7 ways. It's going to become 7 seas when we return back to the homeland. So we're going to see it again. It's going to be so powerful that they're not even going to be talking about this, you know, how they had went over on dry land this way. So this is what happened during this one. This is going to be our last captivity. America, according to the Bible, is our last captivity. We've been through about 7 of them. All right. So, and the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon the dry ground, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left. And the Egyptians pursued and went in after them to the midst of the sea, even all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen. And it came to pass in the morning watch, the Lord looked unto the host of the Egyptians through the pillar of fire and of the cloud, and troubled the host of the Egyptians, and took off their chariot wheels, that they drave them heavily. And they have found those in that Red Sea. They found it. They found proof that this really happened. They drave them heavily, so that the Egyptians said, let us flee Let us flee from the face of Israel, for the Lord fighteth for them against the Egyptians. And the Lord said to Moses, stretch out thy hand over the sea, that the waters may come again upon the Egyptian. So when he stretched out his rod the first time, the waters divided and we went through. But the Lord separated us between us and the Egyptians. So the next time when Moses put out his rod again, the waters came back up so that the Egyptians were drowned. So Moses stretched forth his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to his strength. When the morning appeared, the Egyptians fled against it, and the Lord overthrew the Egyptians in the midst of the sea, and the waters returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen and all the hosts of Pharaoh, that they came into the sea after them. There remained not so much as one of them. But the children of Israel walked upon dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left. Thus the Lord saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians dead upon the seashore. And all Israel saw that great work which the Lord did upon the Egyptians. And the people feared the Lord and believed the Lord and his servant Moses. So now we see our people made it out from that Egyptian slavery. And believe me, we'll make it out of here too. When the day comes, it seems as if the day is approaching. We don't know exactly when. The way things are summing up, it looks like Babylon has fallen. It really does. This reminds me of that book in Revelation in the 18th chapter that it says, Babylon the Great has fallen, has fallen. This place really thought that they could, make it robbing people. You know, all the blood that's on the shoulders of this country, the nations that they have went to war with, sometimes for no reason, all the bloodshed from the different wars they fought, from the slavery, yes, that they're going to pay for that. This country is you know how many people we lost? Millions of people, and they don't care. They don't think that God is not going to they don't think that God is they don't think he's going to revisit that. Yes, he is. And he's revisiting it. Now there's judgment upon this nation for the many sins, the things they did to the Indians. I mean, just so many different things. There's so much blood on the hands of this country. And it's sad that these people have such hard hearts. Like, yeah, well, so what? That happened a long time ago. I didn't do that. Yeah, but you're benefiting from what our forefathers did to bring this country to the prosperity that it is in. And we didn't get a hand in it at all. But you let people from other countries come here and gave them money and land. And even some of the Asian people got, monies from the different wars that were unjustly fought. So when we ask for reparations, we're not asking for nothing that we didn't put into. We need to build up our communities and continue to build businesses and things like that. We're not asking for a handout. It's not right that our ancestors built a country for free and are expected to never expect anything but watch all these other people come here from other countries that you invited here and said, oh, yeah, sure, come on over here. Yeah, sure. We got some free land over there in Oklahoma and Oregon and all these different places. But when it came to us, redlining, you can't buy no house over here. You're black. Oh, you can't go to this school. You're black. No, God is going to avenge us for that. And also our identity stolen, making us think, lying to us, telling us that we were this kind of people, that kind of people. We were, telling us, giving us all these different kind of names when you knew we were the Hebrew Israelites. But because you did not want to acknowledge us as such, you erased our history and it was whitewashed. That's not right. And there's going to be consequences for that. You can't do it. You can't. So and the deeper they're digging, the blacker it's getting. That's crazy. It's really crazy. But just want to say again, the state of affairs, y'all, it's really, really sad. It really is that this country has come to the the way it is. It's pitiful. It's sad. It's nothing to be proud of. It's embarrassing. It really, really is that this country had hundreds of years to get it together, and they never have, and they never will. They're just basically showing us that they're never going to get that thing together. The prejudice and all of that kind of stuff. It's going to remain because they don't want to. They don't want to hit the heart of the matter. They don't want to hit it. It's greed. Greed is at the core of what is going on and what has gone on for hundreds of years in this country. And it's not going to change because they don't listen. They don't believe in God. They don't acknowledge him. And so the leaders of this people are going to lead their people into a captivity that they are not going to even be able to understand. But those of us who trust in the Lord, we will be saved and we will be safe. The Lord will bring us out. It's sad that a lot of our people are going to die because a lot of people are not knowledgeable of what is really going on. So thank you all for tuning in again to the Crystal Jones Show, the show that's all about balance. Thank you for your support, and come again and see week by week what we have. We're on every Sunday 2:30 to 3:30, channel 68 and 34. And like I said, God bless you. God keep you is my prayer. And always remember, stay out of this mess and you stay balanced. God bless you.
I surrender. All right, pal. Get ready for the day, buddy.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad. Do we have a gun?
What's that?
Do we have a gun?
Stop using church intimidation, control and manipulation. Jezebel and all them spirits fall back, not trying to hear it. Go with Jesus, walk in peace. On your pew can sit that beast that we're fighting in the world. I'm that JC Supergirl, Jesus Christ, belt of truth, arm of God, I'm slaying you. Power of the word, two-edged sword. MC Heaven rocks for her Lord. Thought they crept in unaware, didn't see the gatekeeper.